No one jinx this. All right.
Oh, am I kidding?
Oh, yeah. Do we have seats left? Then let folks in. We're so far down into the bowels of the earth that we don't have outside noise. All right, so there is internet issues in this room if you haven't guessed by my struggles. Join the guest network. You will have to put in your name, your email address, and wait for an email. Then you have to get your computer to actually work on it. I will leave this up for a few minutes. Everyone got the guest network part? All right. For those who don't know me, my name is Amy Marrich. I am an OpenStack contributor. I sit on the TC. I am co-chair of the Open Infra Board of Directors. On Matrix/IRC, I am SPOTZ, S-P-O-T-Z. This should be a link that will... Where are we going? Okay. This is a link that should hopefully take you to this presentation. Crossing fingers. The last few years, this particular workshop has been given by the members of the Manila team. They were unable to travel, so I volunteered to present for them. I used to give this as the Git and Garrett Lunch and Learn back in the day. Now, how we came about to knowing this was a needed activity is we had done a diversity survey, and a lot of people said the tools were a barrier to joining the community. Now, I will tell you, setting up Git and Garrett may not be the easiest thing, but it is so much better than doing pull requests in GitHub. All right. So this is a slightly older slide because I did not think to update it. But why should you contribute to OpenStack? It's being part of an innovation. OpenStack powers critical infrastructures throughout the world. You kind of heard some of it yesterday morning. Weather in Europe is being diagnosed on it. Public clouds, private clouds. We're pretty sure that almost every phone call in the world at some point goes through OpenStack. Most of the providers are running some version of OpenStack, 4G, 5G. It solves real-world problems. For a lot of companies, they look at it and they want their dev team to be using these resources. They want to be able to charge back to the marketing team their resources. OpenStack lets you have that isolation, and especially isolation of networking. So what the dev team does on their part of your cloud does not take down your production cloud. So the important thing about OpenStack, as far as the who, if you also notice those numbers, 11,000 contributors, I believe it said 167 countries, we're worldwide. When we as a community talk diversity, it's everyone. What country do you come from? What region of the world? What time zone you're on? What's your background? I'm an animal science major. I am not a computer science major. So I think differently and ask different questions than somebody else. And when I test code, I usually find problems and I report them. So we also talk about how do you contribute. And I actually give full talks on this. So we'll be really quick about this. There's code contributions, which is what everyone thinks of when they say, I'm a contributor. There's documentation. You should be writing good documentation while you work on your code. If you're an end user and you're running through OpenStack and you find that these steps are out of order, give us a bug report, or even better, put a patch in. Testing and QA. That can be automated testing and QA, or like I said, I run through the code, I run through the docs, I find problems. Those bug reports, it's contribution. Advocacy and an evangelism, talking about, hey, I run an OpenStack cloud and it's great and I want everybody else to use it. You're a contributor, thank you. Resources and support. Sponsor projects, get your company involved, do meetups, hackfests locally. You know, spread the knowledge and love. All right, so this is what we call the overview of what exists in OpenStack. For those of you who are very visual, you've probably gone through Horizon. Some of you may have actually gone through Skyline, which is a newer dashboard project. The application lifecycle, if you're using containers, you've probably used Magnum. Orchestration, Heat is one of the earliest ones. Everyone loves Heat. Templating, not so much, but Heat itself is good. And ChatGPT can help you make Heat templates, by the way. They work 90%. Compute, Nova. Zune is a little newer with containers only, but Nova can do some containers. Storage, you have the big three: Object, Swift, Block, Cinder, and File, Manila. So think shared. Networking, Neutron, Octavia. Designate, Neutron everyone uses. Octavia is your load balancing. Designate is your DNS. Hardware, Ironic. Cyborg is accelerators in this new AI world. You'll probably be hearing more from Cyborg in the next few years. And then there's the ones that everybody uses because it puts their cloud together. Keystone, authentication, placement, which is part of Nova. For those of us who have been around for a while, I think of them as the same thing. Images, Glance, your flavors, and then Barbican is your secrets, your HSMs. All right, so I don't necessarily agree that this is a weird thing. I like the fact that this is it. We are super welcoming to new contributors. This talk in one form or another has taken place since, I want to say 2014, Tokyo Summit for sure. It was not given in Shanghai, and then it's been given since COVID as well. Because we want you to contribute. We want to help you get set up because we know that is a stumbling block. Now you have to acquire some context of how we think, how we do things, where things are going, and you have to communicate. If you have a question, ask on an IRC channel, send an email to the dev list, and you have to earn trust. And what I mean by earning trust is the fact that you are going to show up, that if you're doing a review, hey, these reviews have been really good, they put really good comments in them. So when you go to do another review, people are going, oh yeah, you know, they've been giving really good comments. Your code, you know, give good commit messages, talk on the channel if it's something new, do blueprints and specs if it's something really large, but communicate. That is the most important thing here. So we're here to help you. We're here to help you earn that trust. And if you are doing a code request and someone, you know, gives you a -1, which we'll go into a little bit, answer the questions. You may not agree with it, but write a comment back in reply of why you think the way you did it works. And if you can't come to an agreement, you know, then maybe it will change, you know, your little bit of formatting. Just because it's the way you've done it all the time, we want to be consistent, so we may go, can you please just, you know, go ahead and use our formatting. Another way of earning trust, I mentioned reviews. We always need reviews. Cores have the ability to -2 and +2, and also to workflow. But anyone in this room can give a -1 if they see an issue or a +1. And by showing up and doing reviews, you earn trust. If you report bugs, you're earning trust in that way as well. So where is the code? We are not on GitHub. We are mirrored to GitHub, but we do our work out of OpenDev. OpenDev.org is the website. You can find everything there. You do your normal Git pulls, cloning, and so on and so forth. It is Git. The docs are at docs.openstack.org. And if you'll notice, those are our main docs at docs.openstack.org. But when you're looking for like Nova, Neutron, and so on, there's a different way of getting there. You can still go through openstack.org, but if you want to go to the latest docs for, say, Nova, you're going to go to docs.openstack.org/Nova/latest. And there's also a drop down to go to older versions of the code. All right, so one of the advantages of the way they do everything through an Etherpad, whereas I used to have slides and was constantly updating screenshots. We're going to now switch over to this Etherpad. You can get there through the QR code, hopefully, or the link. And what is on that Etherpad, besides a couple of these instructions, is also a list of bugs. And what we have done is found some really easy bugs that you should be able to set up, fix the bug, and hopefully, if Carlos is online, we may even get some commits this morning or afternoon. So you are going to need to join the foundation as an individual contributor. And that link will take you to that form. There are individual contributors or community members and foundation members. The main difference here is foundation members can vote, and that is another way of contributing. So as a foundation member, after you're a member for 180 days, so basically 6 months, you can join in the board nomination process and elections, which are November through January. Y'all wouldn't be able to contribute there this year, but you would next year because of the 180 days. But we hold PTL and TC elections with each release cycle. And you would be able to vote on PTLs for a project you belong to or for the TC. So we do encourage foundation membership so you can contribute in that way. It gives more voice to your membership. Is everyone on the individual contributor? Yeah? Okay. Anyone not? Okay, I see you folks not working. All right, so next we're going to register on Garrett. Please use the same email address. And then once you're in Garrett and signing up, you will need to sign the individual contributor license agreement. Jeremy, is that still true? No. Okay, so we should have taken this out. Yes. Okay, ignore that line. Because we have recently, with the move to the Linux Foundation, we now use DCO. So as before you had to sign the ICLA, now you're going to sign your commits with the DCO. Anyone having trouble with Garrett? All right. So next we're going to make an SSH key. These are your commands. And then remember, you're going to put your public key, not your private key. up on Garrett. And then the next two steps are going to be command line on your local machine. We're going to install Git if you do not have it, and Git review, which you probably do not. And I believe there's further instructions on the Etherpad how to do that. And this is why I like their version better, because I used to have all the commands up here and had to keep updating them. If anyone has trouble with either installing Git or Git review, please raise your hands. I'll walk around a little bit, but it's a little harder in this classroom style. And if you are having trouble, raise your hand, Jeremy, or I'll come by. I guess this side is. I see some people still signing up, so we'll give you a few more minutes. I'm actually going to pull up the Etherpad on my phone. Everyone done signing up? All right. So we're going to do two configurations for global Git. We're going to configure your username and your email address. And this should be the same as your Garrett that you just signed up for. And I mentioned DCO earlier. So one thing to keep in mind as you're doing commits, you're going to use -s on your Git commit, and that is going to sign with your email address the DCO. All right. Yep.
Sorry, how may I verify I set up my account correctly? Because I tried to log into from docs.openstack.org
Mm-hmm.
to my account, and after confirming that my data can be transferred, I get a picture of a cat.
Jeremy is getting 404. And it may just be a bad page, but you know the can't be found.
Not very nice one, but yeah. And previously, it also asked like whether you allowed for the website to get this and this and
Try
this.
clearing your cache and or it may be that your browser pulled an unwithout redirect. If that doesn't work, let's double check that you're willing to open info.org for help with what URL would you normally use to sign in.
Okay, while we work on this issue, the Manila team has put together what we refer to as low-hanging fruits. These are very easy to do, or should be very easy to do, bugs that should be quick. I think most of them are docs related. There may be a couple code ones. And for those of you who brought the slide deck locally, you can just hit the thing, hit the link, or you can use the QR code. And Manila is on one of the two bug trackers we use. In this case, we're talking Launchpad. The other one is called Storyboard. It depends on which project you're working on, which bug tracker they use. The move to Storyboard was optional. Some teams went, some teams did not go. So if in a normal case you want to work on Manila, you would go to bugs.launchpad.net/Manila. If you're going to Nova/Nova, so on and so forth. If you do not have a project responding there, that means you're on Storyboard. You can filter for the tag of low-hanging fruit. And you can assign yourself an issue with the username you just signed up for on Garrett. Anyone having any issues at this point? Yeah, so did you go to the, yeah. Then it'll take a few minutes. Okay. Everyone else doing okay?
We were having an issue with the keygen for the THP.
Okay.
I think the dash C has the account.
No, lowercase.
Well, we were running it with lowercase at the beginning, so it's okay.
Yeah, if you already have a public key, you do not need to make a new one. Just saying. I have to get accounts, so I have to push key gens and stuff like that. But make this easier on yourself. If you already have an SSH key, don't make a new one.
It was open for that dev for a while.
Because this was last used at scale.
Yeah, well, so there's a redirect interface, but apparently if somebody already has
Okay.
foundation membership,
Mhm.
and it tries to redirect them to the login, but they haven't reestablished their membership after the switch to LF, there's some sort of breakage that occurs and they end up at 404 retention.
Okay.
So we should make sure that gets slides to go
Okay.
open for network when we get a chance to
I'll
realize it.
update it. Because I'm going to hand this back to the Manila crew when I'm done with it. Yeah. All right, so those of you who are working on this, have you found a bug? Have you claimed your bug? Is there anyone who has not located a bug? You've been here, the first person in the room. Are you having trouble finding one or? Okay, so you're all the way back on Git review. All right. Now we got someone who's already in Garrett in the back row.
Yeah, well, it's very attached. He's good.
Excellent. Now these are the steps in a normal contribution, testing it on DevStack, running the tests locally. Keep in mind these instructions are more code related than docs related. Ooh, good. I found out a way for me to bring up the Etherpad and not mess you all up. And besides the one bug that we found in the slides, thank you very much for the bug report. Let me know if you find any other issues. Like I said, I'm presenting on behalf of the Manila team who couldn't be here. The Etherpad does have the detailed instructions worse in the slide deck. And you're looking for low-hanging fruit. How are we doing? Question was, does the change have to be in all one change request? The thing I like about Garrett is you can patch on top of patches. I actually abandoned a Ceph change pull request for one character change because I am so used to Garrett on doing patches on top of patches. They wanted me to squash. I'm like, I don't squash in my workflow. So yeah, you can like make one change, put it up, and then just recommit, get add and recommit, and then get review to the same thing. What you will find is that Garrett's going to give you a change ID, and it's then your repo's going to know to use that to do the next git commit and git review. So that is one of the things about Garrett. And if you have time and they're still going, attend some of the Garrett sessions, because Garrett is a really great tool that is, I was happy to see all the lists of companies using it in the keynotes yesterday, because sometimes I feel like we're the only ones who use it. But it's a little harder to set up, not gonna lie. But once it's set up, I personally feel like it's a whole lot easier to do commits because of that fact that you can patch on top of patching. You can, I mean, I do a lot of docs work, so sometimes I'll just go into the interface and I can either suggest an edit for someone else, or if it's someone I know really well and have permission, I'll actually just do a patch on top of their patch. I think it's a whole lot better for collaborative work, to be honest with you. You're welcome. Now on the Etherpad, it mentions git review -s. That is actually the setup for your Garrett, just for the command line to make sure your username and everything is set correctly. In the past, when we had the ICLA, it would cause an error if you hadn't agreed to it yet, but no one should run into that anymore. Are you still working on the internet? But you are on the internet. Okay. it resends it. And you don't have email on your computer? Okay. Okay, so go back to oh, there you go. Finish your registration. No, the red ones. Because you're not on this network. Jeremy did say that there's a little bit of connectivity in the back of the room, so just take your phone up there and see if you can't get it. How's everyone else doing?
I want to review the
Excuse me?
review of the stats.
You can find the list of bugs here. I went back a page. So bugs.launchpad.net Manila, and then search for low-hanging fruit. All right, there is a chance the guest network is stopping the git review dash s. Has anyone gotten past that? I'm on the guest network and I know I can contribute, so hang on a sec. That is not OpenStack. IRC meetings, that'll have it. I returned right away, Jeremy. But I was I was just able to get review dash s, but maybe I didn't actually have to go out. I've got I have a remote say.
Review dash S is a no op if you've already successfully run it on that repository. So if you ran it previously locally on that specific repository that had already connected previously, confirm, and then add your error modes and also the commit modes smoked. And so if those already exist, then the next time you run it, it's checked
controlled by the
Yeah, I've been turning it on.
supervisor team for the project.
Yeah.
So
Okay, just real quick, while we're still here, being that we cannot get past the Git review setup because of technical issues, just a little information about reviewing. Remember how I said reviewing was important? So review.opendev.org takes you into the Garrett system. You can search for specific status opens. You can do a project. And of course, was the instructions on how to do ones if you solve them here. But basically, you can go in and look at the status of a review, look at the what's been going on it. That's just connecting with the community. Let's go back a second. So I mentioned earlier, by Jeremy, that there's different ways of reviewing, and different people have different, not status, but privileges. Let's say that. So anyone can give a -1, which means I see things that you need to change and you should give good comments on what they need to change. +1, which is, hey, good to go, I like this. -2 should only be given like if there's something that should be a spec or a blueprint or a direction that the project is just not going to go in. And it's not a bad thing. It's just like, hey, rethink this, come back to us with something different, give us more information, maybe we'll move forward with it. +2 means from a core, you are good to go. Most projects require 2 +2s. There are some smaller teams that'll go with 1 +2, and those cores also have the ability to give a +1, which is workflow, which sends everything through Zool and the testing. Connecting with the community. We are still on IRC, OFTC, but you can use Element in a web browser, in an app. It's good. Sometimes the bridge is a little flaky, but for the most part, it is a good bridge. General channels, OpenStack, OpenStack Dev. The mailing lists are actually very similar with OpenStack Dev or Discuss. Again, this was normally given by the Manila team, so they're telling you how to get to reach the Manila team. They're on channel OpenStack-Manila. For a full list of meetings and channels, go to meetings.opendev.org. All channels are logged with eavesdrop, so you catch the tail end of a conversation, you want to learn more, you can actually go and look at the logs. And this is our final slide. So the PTG is coming up. Does anyone know what a PTG is? It says it on the slide, people. Project team gatherings. So since COVID, these have all been virtual. We try to keep each session no more than 4 hours. No one's going to sit there all day. So these are how we do our work. Summits is how we share what we're working on and all the cool things. PTG is where we do the work. Have discussion with the teams. All the teams sign up. You can find out who signed up and where their sessions are off of ptg.openinfra.org. The dates are, that is out of date. It's coming up in November. In fact, like in the next 2 weeks. Let me get you real dates. I was a bad updater, folks. I apologize. Okay. The PTG will be October 27th through the 31st. Who knows? Maybe on Halloween, folks will actually put on costumes. You never know. We do take a team picture during sessions, so we have one to show everyone who showed up. But this is where you can go and have conversations. You're interested, I know somebody was working on Nova. Join the Nova meetings, sit around, ask questions. Again, this is how you can earn trust. Attend, participate. Does anyone have any full questions? Alrighty. Thank you all for coming. I know this wasn't easy. We are actually early. Hey. Should you need any